What's up, Hardies and Hardos?
Oh, we're
Back
on?
at it.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Spinny's still eating his popcorn, per usual, not ready for the episode. What's
Just kidding.
new?
We
Yeah,
love
I'm
you.
just kidding. What's up, Hardies, Hardos? We're back at it again, episode 28. Multiple guests coming on today. We got a lot to talk about, so we won't spend too long in the beginning here, but we do want to mention a new kind of weekly schedule going forward starting next week. Tuesday mornings, we will release a fantasy football special. It'll kind of cover some booms and busts of the week before, talk waiver wire pickups, maybe starts of the week for the upcoming week, things of that nature. So be on lookout for that if you love fantasy football. And then we'll still drop our regular episode. We might even drop 2 episodes, depending on how much content we have to cover, because we want to do a college football recap and NFL recap weekly, as well as a preview for the upcoming weekend. Spinny, did I leave anything out?
No. So some weeks that'll be in a Tuesday, Thursday, 2-episode format where we do a post view and a preview and a shorter type episode. Sometimes, given our schedules, it might all come during one episode, but we really want to try and cover CFB and NFL post and preview. So yeah, cheers to that. Cheers to the schedule, huh? I know we all got it going tonight, so let's get it.
Yeah, one last thing I want to mention that we will obviously cover any breaking headlines or anything non-football related that comes up as well. We're not just limited in just the football episodes, but Spinny just jumping off the stream now. Oh, look at him. He's got to eat more popcorn. What a rat. And he's back. Yeah, nice. YouTube special only. Make sure you watch YouTube for this episode. As you can see Spinny doing goofy things. All right, let's just jump in the MLB. This will be the last MLB update for the season. Obviously, we'll probably do some sort of a playoff special. This will be the last regular season one. We'll start with the NL here. Some stat leaders. Not any surprise here. You will see them pop up on your screen. We got Freddie Freeman leading the NL in batting average 329. Home runs is Kyle Schwarber with 37. Only 20 behind Aaron Judge. Not a big deal. And RBIs is Pete Alonso with 110. So that's solid as well. Wins, Kyle Wright with 18 freaking wins. Leads the MLB. Incredible. ERA, Urias, 2.3. Alcantara struggled a little bit. He's now second in the NL. K's is Rodon, 220. And saves Kenley Jansen, 33. What do you guys think about the stat leaders? Kyle Wright's the one that stands out to me. That is crazy. If you would have told me Kyle Wright has 18 wins, I would not have believed you before the season.
Yeah, pretty shocking.
Spin, your mic's muted.
Urias leading the league in ERA surprised me a bit too, honestly. He's been good, but I don't know if he's been that top level, especially when it comes to ERA.
I don't know. I feel like he's one of those underrated guys. You know, he's been in the rotation with Kershaw and Buehler for how many years now? It's kind of just doesn't get a lot of the limelight, I think.
Yeah, he's not that like attention grabbing picture, I guess, because he doesn't get many Ks, and that's what people like to watch when it comes to pitching. So he doesn't get as much of the headlights, as you said, as other pitchers do, even though he has been elite.
Those headlights are
spotlight,
really tough.
You know what it means.
Headlights are tough.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Don't forget to turn them on. It is nighttime, so we probably do need to turn our headlights on.
That's what I'm saying. They have
listen
the
us to the
same
car.
outcome.
Your headlights are on.
All right, now the standings leaders. No surprise. Pretty sure it's the exact same as our last update, even though that was like 2 months ago. Mets have a 1-game lead. Cardinals have a 7-game lead in the Central, and the West is all but done. Dodgers already won it. They are 21 games up. And right now, the wild card in order is Braves, Phillies, Padres. So interesting that, we're going to get 3 NL East teams in the playoffs this year, which I accurately predicted. Spinny did not. I want to say that.
No, my MLB prediction was absolutely flawless. What are you talking about? Best one in the show, even.
The Tigers being your sleeper team, huh?
Mm-hmm. Tigers. I said they weren't making the playoffs. I never committed to that, so I was right on that part.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's changed has been the gap in the leads since the last time we talked about this. How big was the Mets league? The lead.
Yeah,
Last time
it
we
was
talked.
definitely 3
It
to
was
5 games for
double
sure.
digits.
Was it even that much? It could
Oh,
have
I'm
been.
pretty
Yeah,
sure they
it
had
was.
like 11.
Yeah, the Braves are cutting it close, and I mean Phillies, they're doing well even for not having Bryce Harper for that big chunk of the season. They're
And
still in it. So
horrendous bullpen, which they did
yeah,
try to fix a little bit at the
they
trade
did.
deadline,
Yeah,
which
they
is
did some minor moves, but
yeah.
I think it's good.
Mhm.
Well, let's jump to our surprise and disappointments for the NL. Let's Brendan, why don't you start us off with your disappointment in the NL this year?
My disappointment is honestly, I'm going to go with the Padres. I just feel like they
Okay.
should be better than they are. Like when you look at their rotation, you got Snell, Manaea, Musgrove.
Right.
They should be getting at least 4 wins a week. And you look at the offense, the batting order, it's on paper crazy. And then obviously major disappointment, Tatis being hurt. And then as soon as he starts making rehab games, pisses hot for PEDs. So if I'm a Padres fan, I'm pissed, even though they're probably going to get a wild card spot. But I don't see them going. They just don't. They're like the Twins. Like if they don't have Tatis, they don't have the energy. If we don't have Buxton, we don't have the energy. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I like that comparison.
2 different sides of a coin.
Yeah, I mean, you made a ton of good points there. Their rotation on paper, like you said, should be doing a lot better than it is now. Yu Darvish, he's been doing his thing. Musgrove's been having a solid season too. Not saying they've been terrible, but just on paper, it's a stacked 1 through 5. I mean, is McGore still hurt?
Well, he's with the Nationals now, but yeah, he's still in the IL.
Oh yeah, duh, he was in that trade.
Forearm strain, I think, or no, maybe something with the elbow. But
yeah, it's definitely been a disappointing season for Padres fans. I would be so mad about the Tatis shit. That would drive me insane.
Yeah.
Spinny, what do you got as your NL disappointment?
NL disappointment. This NL disappointment is a little bit of a foreshadower for our Dubs and L segment, which is to come. And that is my personal disappointment from the NL is disappointment in myself for having the Cardinals missing the playoffs at the beginning of the season. That's looking awful right now. Top 2 candidates for MVP in the NL. Goldschmidt's absolutely going nuts. They've got good. They've got as good a chance as anybody else to beat the Dodgers. Now, is it a great chance? Absolutely not. But I think they have as good of a chance as anyone else. And I had them missing the playoffs, so I got a few big Cardinals fans in my life that are gonna absolutely love this segment right now. But yeah, I was completely wrong on them, and they are a very good team, top 5 in the league right now.
Is there a more team to root for right now than the Cardinals?
A more hot team to root for, you said?
No, like a more fun team to root for. You got
yes.
Goldie and Arenado are both in the MVP conversation. I think Goldie takes it. You got Albert for 700.
Yeah.
And then you got Waino and Yachty making their record-setting start, I think tonight, or was that last night?
I don't know, honestly.
But it just 325 starts as battery mates, which is insane. You know,
that's nuts,
ridiculous.
Waino has been ridiculous for a 40-year-old man. He's got almost a sub-3 ERA,
literally.
But I think they're a fun team to watch. I like watching the Braves too, but the Cards I'm rooting for them.
That's funny. So, Spinny, since you said foreshadowing, are you going to roast yourself again on the Fat L segment or what?
I mean, I think we'll leave that as foreshadowing, but there might have been a sarcastic comment made by me already that was also foreshadowing on this episode in relevance to that and this also. So if you're smart, you can figure it out, go back, figure out what I've said, connect the dots, and you already know one of our L's and Dubs segments, but I'm not giving it away.
That's fair. That is completely fair. Well, my disappointment is also in the NL Central. It's Chris Bryant. Obviously, it mainly has to do with injury. He played only 42 games this season, batted .306, 5 home runs, and 14 RBIs.
Rockies are in the West, bud.
Yeah, in the West, they are. Good call. Thank you for calling me out on that. But this one just doesn't make sense to me. We get it, Spinny.
Oh, sorry.
Sick. Actually cool.
Just had to make sure.
They don't sign Nolan Arenado, and then they just go sign Chris Bryant to 7 years, $182 million deal. So, like, from the jump, it doesn't make sense to me at all. And, yeah, they paid him $17 million this year to basically just sit on the bench. His WAR, so that's a stat for played games, obviously, right? His WAR was the equivalent to $4.4 million, according to Fangraphs, salary-wise. So if he was a free agent, that would have been his market, 4.4 mil. Paid him 17 mil this year, and the rest of the deal, all 6 years, will be $26 million a year. So that's a lot to pay for a guy that's not even playing and is kind of on his back end of his career, if you ask me. Right? Or am I wrong by saying that?
I don't know if it's complacency or idiocy that's going on in the front office at Coors, but they let Arenado walk. They could have traded Story. They were not in the playoff hunt at all. Could have traded Story, got prospects for him. Did nothing. Let him walk. And it's like, you've got these players. If you don't plan on re-signing them, what's the point of keeping them for the last 60 games or whatever?
Exactly.
And why are we letting Arenado go? And Buss already kind of said this, but why are we letting Arenado go and signing Bryant? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
None. Same position, worse player, worse fielder for absolute sure.
Yeah. I think
Arenado's second in MVP.
Yeah. I think
they could have got him for not a ton more money than they gave to Bryant.
Yeah. I think in Bryant's best year at the plate, he could probably come close to Arenado, but I don't think he could eclipse him.
No. Arenado has been better than Bryant his entire career.
Yeah.
In my opinion. There's been no doubt in my mind.
And I think it's like an undisputed fact that Arenado's the best fielding third baseman in the league.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe Matt Chapman, because he makes some good plays too. That's most of the reason he gets a lot of playing time, because he strikes out way too much to be,
right.
He wasn't a good fielder to be in the lineup. But Arenado's still the best third baseman in the league overall, in my opinion.
Never not won the Gold Glove. Won the Gold Glove every season. He's been in the league.
I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous insane player he is. If he wasn't on Colorado for the majority of his career, he would have probably already won an MVP. So I know he's finished. I'm pretty sure he's like top 5 in MVP voting like every single season, because he hits 30 bombs, 100 RBIs, 300 batting average every year, plus wins the Gold Glove.
Mm-hmm. I would say
so. Yeah, that's my disappointment.
Austin Riley and Matt Chapman together, you get Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Exactly. Brendan, what's your surprise? I know you want to talk about this one.
My surprise is Spencer Strider. I try to keep up pretty well with like highly touted pitching prospects, mostly for our fantasy league, so I can dub you guys even more easily. But
even more easily? This man is in his talk. It's good for 1 year and he gets after it.
Spinny, you didn't ever beat me in fantasy baseball.
I finished higher than you the last 2 years. Get out.
Yeah, but you never beat me in a 1-to-1 matchup.
That's tough.
It's all right. The playoffs, be getting farther in the playoffs is all that matters.
You didn't make playoffs this year.
Quit talking about the past. For once I didn't. Wow, they should. Yeah, for the one time in the history of my team in this league, I did not make the playoffs. You're right. Good job.
Anyway, so Spencer Strider started the year out as like a length reliever. He's 10-5, 2.72 ERA, 192 strikeouts in 125 2/3 innings pitched. That is a 13.8 K per nine,
So freaking
and he's a
stupid.
rookie. Just had a 8-inning 2-hitter.
Brendan picked him up for $0. Sweet.
It might have been $1, but he just had an 8-inning 2-hitter with 16 strikeouts against the Rockies 10, 12 days ago. I think if there's anybody in the league that throws another 20 strikeout game, it'll be him.
That's a bold take, but I think I can be behind that take, honestly.
Well, when he threw that game against the Rockies, that was the most innings he'd ever thrown in a season before. So he's already beyond what he's ever thrown in a year in the past. And, you'd expect some regression, but he just had 9 Ks in 5 innings 2 nights ago.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like he's gotten better as the season's gone on.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. He had a couple shaky starts after the break, but for a rookie, I don't remember a rookie pitcher coming up and doing something like this in their first year.
Especially on a consistent level.
Yes.
Like Hunter Green was good for Cincinnati every other start. Like he'd have some starts like this, but his ERA was like 5.5, and that's how pitchers go. You're just banking on that. So to see a rookie, like you said, absolutely show out like on an overall MLB level is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And on a contender too. Like he's doing this on one of the best teams in that now.
Yeah. And I think like Hunter Green throws harder than Strider does. But Strider's stride to the plate is like 7 feet and 2 inches or something crazy. It's like 116% of his height. He's only 6 feet tall. And Hunter Green's stride to the plate it's shorter than Strider's. I can't remember how long it is, but the perceived velocity on Strider's fastballs are consistently 99, 100. So like what he's actually throwing. And the perceived velocity on Hunter Green's fastballs is like 96 because his stride isn't as long. So I think if the Reds evolve into the 21st century, they can work with Hunter Green's mechanics and like get his stride longer and get that perceived velocity up, and he'll be more effective. Because you see him popping 102 and guys are hitting at 450. It's like how.
That's true.
It's just one of those mechanics things. But.
Yeah, Spencer Strider, insane. It's obvious rookie of the year. I mean, probably will be unanimous. Maybe not, but wouldn't surprise me if he was unanimous.
Well, the problem is his teammate Michael Harris is having a pretty good year too.
Right. Yeah, so he might steal some votes, I'm sure, but
yeah,
those are top 2 odds right now.
Those are the only 2, players with real odds, I feel like. So,
which is kind of why I think there should be like a rookie pitcher of the year and rookie position player of the year. But
I'd be behind that. I don't see why not.
Because it's not like the Cy Youngs for pitchers and the last decade or so, the MVP's meant for position players, but
right.
Yeah.
Right. Spinny, what do you got? What was your surprise in the NL?
My surprise is Brendan. Brendan gets a shout out in my surprise segment because my surprise is Jordan Montgomery. Brendan brought this up on what update was that? 2 updates ago, maybe? Trade deadline update. How he thought that was a big move for the Cardinals. He could be an effective pitcher for them. And I kind of laughed at him and told him he wasn't going to be that good. So, shout out Jordan Montgomery again. This is just the proving Spinny wrong segment. So we're just embracing our inner being wrong today. And huge shout out to him. He has had I don't have his Sense Cardinal stats up here right now, but he has improved his ERA since he's been there. He's improved his strikeouts per 9 since he's been there, and everything has went up. And from that perspective, and he's won a lot of games. The Cardinals have won 85% of his starts since they got him. So absolutely effective in the win column, and he's a pitcher that you can throw legitimately in the playoffs. So I think it was a huge move for them, and he has turned it into something even bigger by his play.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's fair. You had to get that shout out to Brendan because that was a great
did.
thing by him. It was all based on that. God, what was the stat you used?
Yeah, I should have gone back and found that. That was so
The
good.
stat you used to be like, yeah, this is why this guy will be good.
Oh, balls
Because I even remember at the time being like,
balls hit and play, I think.
Balls and play percentage. And then I brought up how
Yeah.
the Cardinals have an insane defense. And
Yeah,
the fact that he wouldn't be pitching in Yankee Stadium anymore, which, I mean, if I took enough BP swings in Yankee Stadium, I think I could get one out. And I'm not a big guy, so.
Probably. My NL, we'll wrap up the NL here. My NL surprise is Zach Gallen. He's been absolutely tearing it up, especially as of late. He's 12-2 on the season with a 2.5 ERA and a .91 WHIP. He was a good prospect, high prospect. I expected him to be this good at some point, but I definitely didn't see that coming this year. So that definitely surprised me to see him just absolutely tearing it up, especially since the All-Star break. In his last 6 starts, he is 6-0 with a .57 ERA and a .59 WHIP. So absolutely ridiculous numbers in his last 6 starts. Just incredible.
And he was ass last year. Like, to put it bluntly, he was terrible.
He was bad and was battling injuries too. And whenever he came back from the injuries, he was still struggling. But it's like, so I was questioning the injuries coming into this year, and then also the fact that he's still on the D-backs. So I was like, is this numbers going to be that good being on a terrible team? But incredible season for Zach Allen.
I was wondering why at the trade deadline the Diamondbacks weren't moving like Merrill Kelly, Madison Bumgarner, those kind of guys. Kelly's having a great year too, by the way.
Yes, he is.
I think he's got like a 2.73 ERA or something. He's on your team, isn't he, Bus?
Killing it for my fantasy team, yep.
Yeah. And now what I've been seeing lately, I kind of understand because I think they have some studs coming up. I don't think they're too many pieces away from a wild card spot with the expanded playoff platform now. So if I said anything bad about the D-backs during the trade deadline talk, I take it back. They're going to be interesting next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree. Next couple of years for sure, they'll be interesting team to watch for sure. It'll depend on the offseason, especially obviously.
Yeah.
Who they move and
I would have rather seen Chris Bryant go there than the Rockies, which he probably would have been hurt anyway, but still.
Sure. All right, let's jump to the AL now. Stat leaders, as expected, all throughout the board here. Batting average, Luis Arraez, 319. He's one ahead of Bogarts, I believe. Xander Bogarts batting 318. So that'll come down to the end of the season here. Aaron Judge, obviously 57 home runs, 123 RBIs, just is obliterating both those categories MLB wide. Wins, Justin Verlander is still leading even though he's been hurt as of late, 16 wins. Also leads ERA in that entire MLB, in fact, 1.84. Cole has the K's at 220, actually 228. And Emmanuel Clase for the Guardians has the most saves at 35 saves. What do you guys think about this Aaron Judge shit? Because this is ridiculous.
I mean, steroids excluded, he's doing something that the league hasn't seen in over 60 years. I mean, he had like the 2006 season. I think Ryan Howard had 54 home runs. Pujols, I think, had 52. There was a lot of big home run hitters that year, but Judge is going to get to 60. And that's
and Judge had 52 in 2017, second year in the league.
Yeah.
60's only been done, 5 times? Even including steroids? Like 5 different people. 5 different people.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying individual seasons.
It's just Bonds, Sosa, McGuire, and Maris, right?
It is Babe Ruth, Maris, Sosa, McGuire, Bonds.
Yeah, 5. Those 5.
So the record is only take out all steroids. It's 61. Roger Maris.
Yep.
Is the MLB record. If you don't consider the steroids. So yeah, I mean he's definitely on pace to get 62. Do you guys think he's going to get that 62?
I don't know. There's not a ton of games left, but
There's like
I mean,
3 weeks
he had
left.
2 yesterday. He had
True.
2 home runs last night. So
Yeah, if he keeps that pace up, he'll only need 2 more games. Maybe he'll get 61.
that's what I'm saying. It's Judge. Like he's been hitting multi-home
it's
run
doable.
games.
It's not like it's not doable. I don't think it's over 50% odds. I don't think it's likely.
That's fair.
But I do think it is possible for sure.
What do you think is more likely? Judge hitting 62 or Pujols getting the 700?
Judge hitting 62.
I think so too.
I want Pujols to hit 700 so bad. It's just, yeah, I mean, we're talking about what, 3 home runs for Pujols and 5 home runs for Judge. I think it's more likely Judge hits 5 home runs and Pujols hits 3.
Oh, it certainly helps that the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs.
The playoff home runs count in that?
Yeah, I was going to say. They do, right? It's not like the stupid NBA where points is separate.
No, they definitely count.
Oh,
For
okay.
career totals.
Well, if that happens, if that makes it a little different too.
I think they both happen personally. I would rather see Pujols hit 700 than Judge hit 62 just because of Yankees.
Agree.
And
screw the Yankees.
Like,
I don't want to see Yankees do anything good.
Right, yeah. And can you think of a better retirement story for Pujols?
Well, if he gets 3 more, that'll be 21 home runs this year. You'd have told me that to start the season. That's why he was I forgot to mention that in NL. He was my bonus surprise because I didn't think he was going to get this close to 700.
I didn't think he was going to get this close a month ago. He's been insane in August.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He had me debating on picking him up in fantasy. I was like, am I really going to pick 42-year-old Pujols because he's raking right now?
I was thinking about it too, but the problem is they pretty much only DH him when they're facing lefties.
Right.
Which obviously has been working for them. And it's even crazier when you think about that Pujols is probably 2 or 3 years older than he's listed. Like that's
it could be.
Huge rumor around the league just because he was well, he came from, is he Dominican or do you know, Bus?
I don't know, honestly.
Well, a lot of the times
know.
Back in the day, Spinny, like international players couldn't get to the States when they were young. And so when they got here, they didn't want to try out until they were
Dominican.
23 or whatever because they'd still have to work through the minors and they'd be less attractive to teams. So a lot of them lied about their age.
So they were older.
Yes. And it's a pretty widely believed thing that Pujols is actually 2 or 3 years older than he's listed on his contract or,
you don't need to have your tinfoil hat on for this. This isn't a crazy theory.
It's not. It's entirely within the realm of possibility. I completely believe it, honestly, but
who knows? I don't know how they would prove that, but that'd be nuts. Standings. East, Yankees still leading 6 games. Their lead is down 2, though. They were up by 17, I believe, at the All-Star break. Central, Guardians now leading 4 games up on the White Sox. I think our Twins are 5.5 back right now. West, Astros, obviously, they got that wrapped up, 12.5 game lead. And wild card in order is Blue Jays, Mariners, and Rays. I might even have that wrong, honestly, because Blue Jays and Mariners that were tied, and I had no idea who hit the tiebreaker. So they have the same record as of right now. That's pretty much as expected. I don't think that's changed besides Guardians taking over at Central. I don't think that's changed one bit from the last update we had.
Yeah, pretty much. Yankees is not as big as they used to be.
No, yeah, they've been sucking. They have been sucking for sure.
6 ahead of the Blue Jays and 6.5 ahead of the Rays. So still probably going to win the division, but just been compared to the first half, they've been atrocious.
Late resurgence for the Blue Jays too. They've been coming on late. All right, Bus. What's your AL disappointment?
Mine will be a rookie, actually, Spencer Torkelson. I don't want to. Obviously, he's got plenty of time in his career to be better, but this was a very disappointing rookie season, especially when you're looking at the other 2 stud rookies that started the season on their teams would be Julio and Bobby Witt. Both those guys have great stat lines. And this is his stat line. Boys, this is terrible. 91 games in MLB. He has a negative .8 WAR, 25% K rate. He is batting .210 with 6 home runs only, 23 RBIs, .297 on base percentage, and a .323 slugging percentage. Those are his MLB stats. Very rough. And you would think, okay, maybe you send him down to the minors. He figures it out a little bit, bring him back up. Nope, that hasn't been the case. 35 games in the minors. He's batting .229 only, with only 5 home runs, 18 RBIs, .348 on base percentage, and .389 slugging. So anywhere you look at Spencer Torkelson's stats, whether in the minors or in the majors, he has been absolutely brutal this year. So he has been a huge disappointment.
Shout out Derek for sending me Jose Abreu for Torkelson straight up.
Oh my gosh. Who you used to get Zach Wheeler. So
Straight up
Torkelson
as well.
for Zach Wheeler. Nice.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That's 19.
All right. On from Brendan, classically finessing fantasy trades for MLB players. Who's your disappointment, Brendan?
The Twins.
Yeah.
They just, I can't even watch them anymore because they're in the games and then they piss them away, which is nothing new, really. I don't know. We were talking about this before we started recording, but at this point, I think I'd rather have them not make the playoffs just so we don't have to add any games to that winless streak of playoff games.
I completely agree.
What are we at?
Because we would add to it.
Oh, God. We'd add another 3 games to it or whatever the wild card series is now. I think it's 3 games. Well, 2 games. Because we wouldn't even get to the third one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The Twins definitely get the biggest
Just sigh.
of the episode. For sure. Huge sigh there. What did you say, Bus, too? Most time missed by regular starters per team in the MLB?
Yeah, I should have bookmarked that tweet so I could pull it up, but we were leading it by a mile. It was what Spinny said, most starts by like your regular players, not most missed starts by your regular starters. And we were, at least for batters, we're absolutely destroying in that category. So
yeah. Well, Buxton.
Nothing you can really do when your best players, Buxton, Plonk, all these guys are getting hurt all the time. Our pitchers are terrible. We knew that going into the season.
Correa missed a lot of time at the beginning of the year.
Correa's been disappointing in my eyes.
Yeah. All right, disappointment for me.
I don't even want to. Yeah, please move on. I don't want to talk about the Twins anymore.
Yeah. Disappointment for me. I had to use this opportunity to roast a White Sox. Lucas Giolito, 10-9, 139 innings pitched with 155 hits, over 1 hit per inning, 5.18 ERA, WAR negative .2. Just I don't know. I thought this guy was going to be a regular top 10 to 20 pitcher in the league consistently. He just kind of gave that vibe. His strikeout rate was good. It's still decent. He gets hit a lot, his consistency is not there. And I would have taken this guy over Cease a year ago before the season started. So to see the difference by the end of the season now and how those two are viewed compared at the beginning is absolutely crazy. So huge disappointment from Lucas Giolito.
We love the opportunity to roast White Sox players. So yes, I'm glad you chose him. Surprise. We're on to surprise now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start it off. Give a shout out to the Baltimore Orioles because who would have thought they would be above 500 at this point in the season? No one, for that matter. Let's look at these predictions. ESPN. I looked it up. Preseason predictions. What do you guys think ESPN had them going?
Like 50, no.
60 and 102.
Yeah, I was gonna say 58 and 104.
ESPN had them going 58 and 104.
I should get an extra bonus point on trivia for that because I just guessed their records to rate up off nothing.
And Bleacher Report had them going 61 and 101. Sporting News had a little more respectable prediction. They had 70 and 92. Their actual record as of today, 73 and 67. So
They're better than the Twins.
They're better than the Twins. They have like 4-game lead on the Twins. So yeah, I had to shout out the Orioles because absolutely zero faith. Everyone picked them to be a bottom 3 team in MLB, and if they were in the AL Central, they would almost be in the playoffs. So, mad shout out to the Orioles for vastly outperforming their expectations.
Brendan, surprise for you in the AL.
I'm going to say Mariners.
Boo!
Oh, come on.
They were my sleeper team. I wasn't surprised. This is what I expected.
I thought they'd catch a wild card spot, but I thought they would finish the season with like 84 wins. They've already got 80 with 3 more weeks left to play. So they could easily get to, I shouldn't say easily, but it's plausible that they get to 90 wins. And I mean, I guess Houston's really the only tough divisional opponent they have. Rangers, Angels, and A's are all bad, really bad. But they just took 2 out of 3 against the Braves over the weekend. You know, I think they're for real. They could definitely go a round or 2 in the playoffs.
Getting Luis Castillo at the deadline definitely helps.
Yeah. Yep.
Wish the Twins would have done that.
That would be nice. But now, yeah,
Right.
they're rocking. Who are their? I mean, they got Robbie Ray, Castillo, Kirby. They got. Why am I drawing a blank on an obvious name here? He's got like 13 wins this year. Wow, I feel dumb there. I can't remember his name. But yeah, their pitch staff's looking solid. They got a number of good batters, including the likely rookie of the year, Julio Rodriguez. So shout out Mariners. Not a surprise to me, I will say.
And well, yes. So that just leaves me, right? My surprise.
Yes. Who is your surprise?
This is a surprise, but it's a sad one. And it's the Cleveland Guardians. I did not think that they would be in it, but Jose has absolutely went off. His batting has inspired the rest of the lineup to at least be half decent. They have Naylor, who's been good. I'm drawing a blank on the third guy on their team that's had a what?
Menez,
yeah.
Yeah. That has had a good season. So those 3 have really carried it. Ramirez is going to finish top 3 in the MVP for the AL. So absolutely crazy outperformance season for them. And they have come in clutch late in the season. They beat the Twins mostly in this last series. We've got a few more against them. And I just don't have faith in us and have faith in them, I guess, as it goes. So a good season for Cleveland, despite even their pitching not being quite necessarily what I thought it was going to be, and them not having a lot of no-name batters. A really good season they put together there in Cleveland.
Yeah, hate to admit it, but you're right there.
I would take Terry Francona over Rocco any day.
Yeah.
Duh. Rocco's not a good manager.
No.
I'm sorry. He's not a good manager.
I was saying this months ago. He should be.
Yeah, Rocco's not a good manager. I mean, like, he's okay. He's probably middle of the road. But if you want to break the playoff losing streak that we have, middle of the road is not going to get you where you need to be.
That's the problem. I feel like the front office makes a team for the division, to compete in the division. Well, you're in the worst division in baseball. Make a team that'll win 1 playoff game.
Or just for a series, God forbid.
Yeah. If they did win a series, it'd probably be by accident.
I know, right? All right. Surprise and disappointments. That was good.
That was a good recap. Yeah. Let's just jump into the awards. We might as well, and then we'll jump to trivia and bring on our other guest. So let's start with the NL, huh? NL MVP. Who you guys running with? I'm running with Paul Goldschmidt.
Yep.
Same. It's pretty
same across the board.
I feel like it's obvious in the NL, especially given that he's a little better in there and not on the same team. So I think that's how it's going to go. Rookie of the year.
Spencer Strider.
Same.
Michael Harris. I had to go different. I couldn't. I picked so many best, like highest odds for these. I had to go a little different. I think Harris might squeak it out over Strider.
He's been great. His batting average is up to 316 now.
Yeah.
I'm debating using a keeper on him.
316, 18 homers, 57 RBIs, and a 900 OPS.
And that's in like 90 games. Is it?
Yeah, 345 at bats.
Like 80?
345 at bats. So.
Yeah.
All right, Sion, Sandy, all around.
Sandy.
Yeah, I think Sandy will get it, but Max Fried is like if you look at the stats, it's real close. It's real close. Other than innings pitched, but Sandy also has 2 extra games started. Like if you look at their innings pitched per start, Sandy's at 7 and Fried is at 6 1/3.
Okay.
But I still think Sandy gets it.
Yeah. Yep.
Sandy Alcantara.
Another horrible Dylan fantasy trade classic. NL Manager of the Year.
I'm running with Buck Showalter for the Mets.
Brendan?
They vastly outperformed their expectations, I feel like, going into this season. So,
Marmol from the Cardinals.
That's who I went with too, Marmol. Yeah,
I like that choice.
Again, I have to give more Cardinals credit. All right, AL. Let's jump over there. MVP. Do we even need to cover it? I think it's obvious.
Aaron Judge. It's a lock.
Yeah, it's a lock. Another lock, honestly. Rookie of the Year. Not quite as much of a lock, but I think Julio's pretty much got it in the bag.
Julio's got it in the bag. Bobby Witt. Usually any other season would probably win it, though. He's having a great year, too.
Shout out Bobby Witt. Great year.
Also,
AL Cy Young. We might have some differences here, I think, maybe.
I'm going Verlander. I'm still sticking with Verlander. Leads MLB in ERA. First in the AL and Cy Young. Or in wins. Second in the MLB in wins.
Yeah, I'm going Verlander too. For me, it was between Verlander and Cease, but Cease's biggest problem is that he pitches for the White Sox, so he's not getting my vote. Not that my vote matters, but he also walks like 3 more guys per 9 innings than Verlander does.
Yeah.
A lot of walks for Cease. I think Cease is I went with Cease. I think Verlander's injury kind of hurt him a little bit. I think that Cease might sneak it out because of that, but it's really close. Pretty much a two-man race there, I think.
Also, Verlander's whip is .855, and I think Cease's is like 1.15, which is still good.
Yeah.
But 0.85.
But 0.85 is dumb.
Insane.
Dumb.
Yeah.
38-year-old coming off of Tommy John.
Dumb.
Ridiculous.
Manager.
39, but
Manager, this one was tough. I'm running with Scott Service for the Mariners. Is that yours?
yeah. Is it mine? He says.
We will let the record show that the first thing Brendan mentioned when we brainstormed about this episode was, I want the Mariners manager for Manager of the Year. First thing that came up when we talked about this. So that was the Steel Nation from Bus.
Yes, he's right. I had a rock with Scott Service. However you say his freaking last name.
Let's put it this way. Bus asked me how to pronounce his name.
Well, Servibais. That's pronounced
Lots of Mariners
Service.
games you've watched, huh? Extra amounts of them.
They were my sleeper team preseason. I'm running with them.
All right.
I picked Aaron Boone.
Aaron Boone?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I think Aaron Boone's going to get it. No cap.
The Yankees manager.
There's Yankee lovers everywhere. Come on, you guys got to know. I think Aaron Boone's going to win it, honestly, too.
Are the Yankees?
Kills me that I hate the Yankees. I got to pick guys I hate today. We're picking teams that guys play on that I sports hate today, but it's just the move.
Aaron Boone sucks. In my opinion.
No, I don't think he's a great manager, but I think he's going to win Manager of the Year.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Awesome.
All right, that that wraps it up. Actually, that's our final MLB update for the regular season. And like I said, stay on the tune for some playoff talk. We'll obviously cover that once the time comes in early October. So now we're going to jump to trivia, get our other guest.
Guest number
Legendary
dos.
Mike Brown, legendary CFB Mike. Kind of a foreshadow for what we're going to cover after trivia. But boys, you guys ready to play some trivia or what? I'm ready to get a dub. I have 2 dubs in a row on Spinny, so I'm feeling good.
We're going fast tonight, y'all. So
Yeah,
25 seconds per. Yeah, we'll make it quick. All right, who's going first? Who wants it? Does anybody want it?
I can go first.
No, I don't want it. Brendan goes first.
Brendan wants it. We love it.
Okay. This is my easy one. We're starting with the easy ones, right?
Correct.
Okay. Then 32 years of age, this pitcher won the 2005 AL Cy Young Award and went on to record at least 1 win against every major league team.
Easy question.
Yep.
All right.
I think I got it. My answer, Johan Santana.
Same.
That's mine too.
Bartolo Colon, guys.
You cannot use this man on every trivia.
I literally told you I was going to.
Bartolo.
Santana did win AL Cy Young in 05 though, right?
I think he was 06.
Johan Santana.
We're in MLB.com.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where Bartolo was playing. He's played in every team in America, so.
Yep.
Screw you, Brendan. All right.
I told you.
Who's next?
All right, I'll go next. Mine's easier, but yeah.
2004, 2006. Sorry to interrupt. Cy Young for Johan. 2004 and 6.
All right, what college did Russell Wilson initially attend?
Oh, I'm so dumb.
I'll give you both if you want.
Spinny answer last.
Oh my gosh.
USC.
Right. Is that your final, Brendan?
I don't care.
I'm going to get this wrong.
6,
I'm getting this wrong.
5, 4, 3,
Michigan
2,
State.
1. The answer is NC State, and then he transferred to Wisconsin.
Nice, Spinny, nice. I was wondering if that would stumble someone, because everyone knows he played for Wisconsin. I was curious if that would stumble some people.
NC State. I did not remember
Come on,
that.
Bus. Ask away.
Nope, you ask one.
Okay. What state is the NFL Hall of Fame located in?
I got an answer.
I'm good.
Brendan?
Ohio?
Ohio.
Corrects are on the board. Ohio, Canton, Ohio.
Okay. So, one's all on the board with the final easy question. For me, all of my questions are interceptions based in the NFL. So have fun with these.
This means Bus is going to guaranteed to be in last at the end of this question.
In the last 5 years, who has the most interceptions for a quarterback?
Like, who's thrown the most?
Who has thrown the most interceptions?
I got an answer.
In the last 5 years.
Yep. I got mine.
I got mine.
I'm probably going to have to answer first for all the NFL questions because I'm going to go Jared Goff.
Okay, what do you guys got?
I'm going Jameis Winston as well.
The correct answer is Jameis Winston.
Oh, that was the first name I thought of, but I was like, well, Breeze was still there. There's no way he had enough playing time.
He had 30
and he missed he missed like an entire season too, and he still had it.
Literally.
Good Lord.
All right. Mike and Spinny going into the medium round have 2 points each to lead.
Brendan?
Who started? Brendan, yep.
Who are the 3 Yankees players with multiple 50-homer seasons?
With multiple 50-homer seasons.
One should be blatantly obvious.
We need all 3, correct?
Yeah.
I've got 2 for sure.
I got 2, obviously.
I mean, I think I'm going to go with this guy for the Mather one, so we're just going to go with it.
Yeah, I'm good. You want me to start?
Sure.
I'm going Aaron Judge. Alex Rodriguez, and Roger Maris.
Boss, what do you think?
I'm going Judge, Maris, and Ruth.
Spinny? Oh, none of you got it right.
It was Judge
and Ruth.
A-Rod, Ruth.
It was Judge, Ruth, Mickey Mantle.
Mantle.
Yep.
Maris never had 50 other than when he had 61. He never had
forgot
50 in another season, huh?
I don't know if he had above 40.
That's nuts.
No, I remember because Brendan, wasn't that one of your most overrated players?
That was Spinny's.
Oh yeah, that was yours, Spinny. You should have known that.
I was debating using that as my hard one. I maybe should have, but
no, that was fine.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was good. I mean,
What do you
all
got?
3 players are some of the most famous players of all time, so I think it was good for medium.
Yeah.
What do you got, Mike?
All right. A little Gopher question here. Who is the Gophers' career rushing leader? All time.
I knew you were going to ask that.
maybe I might.
I honestly don't know.
Was this
Might
guy
be
an
embarrassing,
NFL
but I
draft
don't
pick?
Can we get an era, like a hint?
How about in our lifetime? I feel like that's our classic question.
Not in our lifetime.
Oh, I got this.
Oh, I have no chance.
Then I really have no chance.
I have
All right.
no chance.
All right. Brendan answers last. Let's see this.
All right, not in our lifetime. I couldn't name you a single Gophers running back. I'm going to run with a guy that I know didn't play for the Gophers, but I know is not for my lifetime. Barry Sanders. Final answer.
Oklahoma State.
I don't know a single running back. Can tell you.
I don't know if I can name a single running back that played for the Gophers not in our lifetime.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's just go Chuck Foreman.
All right, Brendan.
Was this a single sport athlete?
That's a good question. I don't know if I know the answer to that. It's not. Yeah. I guess there's your hint. It's not one of the two that. It's not one of the 2 most popular dual sport athletes from the U of M.
So it's not Dave Winfield?
No.
Oh, yes. Sure, Chuck Foreman, what Spinny said.
Gotcha.
I think we all.
It's Daryl Thompson.
No shot.
Who's currently the on-field reporter. Wait, no. He's a play-by-play guy on the Gopher football broadcast.
Oh.
Played for the Packers and won a Super Bowl with Green Bay.
Boo.
Yeah,
Boo.
right.
Was the other guy Dave Winfield that was one of those 2 guys?
So the other, the dual sport athletes that I thought of were Dave Winfield, and then there's one more. I thought, no, Tony Dungy wasn't dual sport. I don't know who I was thinking of for that.
That's what I should have guessed.
I forgot Tony, yeah. Wow.
All right. My medium question. This might be too easy. I might have went too easy this week, but what was the name first and last of the Steelers coach before Mike Tomlin?
I got it.
No way I'm drawing a blank on this dude's
Mike goes
name
last.
right now.
Let Mike go first.
No. Mike's going to win because I went too easy with this question.
Dude, there's no way I should have forgot this dude's name.
10, 9, 8.
Steelers coach.
6,
Dan Smith, BYU.
4, 3, 2, 1.
That's my
Answer, Bus.
Steelers coach pre-Mike Tomlin was. Dude, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. This is so embarrassing.
Okay, Bus doesn't get an answer.
Yeah, take me. That's
Tell us
all.
who it is, Mike. I know you know.
It's good for me to go.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher.
Yep. Correct. Bill Cowher. Who was the coach before that?
Is it Chuck Noll?
Yeah, Chuck Noll, and then
They've only had like five coaches in like the history of their franchise. It's crazy.
yeah, it's
Must be nice.
LeBeau and Noel, and Cowher and Tomlin, and then there's like one guy other than that who got in for like a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I could think of Cowher, but no shot I was getting Bill. God, that is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Is it Bus's medium first? Bus's medium, then we'll update scores.
Okay, my medium. Flip side of it. Last 5 years, who has caught the most interceptions? What defensive player has caught the most interceptions in the last 5 years?
I got an answer.
Does he wear purple?
No hints.
Doesn't wear purple.
I'll just go. Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I suppose if you're referring to Harrison Smith, it's not Harrison Smith. Yeah.
That was what I was.
Is it Is it kind of a random player or not? Or is it famous? Like, you can give us that. Come on.
He is not random whatsoever.
I said Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if that went through.
Yep, I heard you.
Okay. It's probably wrong. It's fine.
10 seconds.
I'm gonna go with Marcus Peters.
And Spinny, your answer.
I'm honestly between Peters and Casey Hayward. I'm going to go Peters because you said not random. Marcus Peters.
The answer is Xavier Howard. 27
That's a
interceptions
good
he
one.
has in the last 5 years.
I've
Crazy.
never
Yeah.
heard of this man.
I was finding these on StatMuse. You look at last 10 years interceptions, the leader is Richard Sherman with 33, and Xavier Howard has 27 in only 5 years. So 6 less than, so crazy pace for Xavier. He's pretty famous, right? Like, he's like one of the best D-backs in the league.
He's one of the better
yeah.
corners.
Yeah. All right, that means Mike is winning 4-2 to 1-1. Brendan and I are last place with 1 point.
Yep. All right, we ready?
Okay. Hard it up. I know I'm not getting Brendan's hard question if that was his medium question.
I don't know. You might get it's Minnesota related. Drafted as a shortstop in 1995, this player was later traded to the Twins in 2003 along with Boof Bonser and Francisco Liriano in exchange for catcher A.J. Pierzynski.
Drafted as a shortstop?
Yes, drafted as a shortstop in
Ooh.
1995.
I think I know. I really do. Wow.
Traded. Can you say it was Boof and who else was traded with him?
Liriano.
Okay, Boof and Liriano.
I don't know if this is right. This doesn't feel right, but it could be.
Go with your gut, Spinny.
That's what I'm doing.
I have an answer.
Mike, how you feel?
Not great.
Hey, you can go first.
Perfect. Man, all the shortstops around that time, I feel like came up in the organization. I'm gonna go Jason Bartlett.
Boss?
Corey Koski.
Spinny?
Michael Kadire?
No. Joe Nathan, baby.
Ah!
What? 3 pitchers?
Oh, damn. I knew he came in that deal. I was like, shortstop really threw me off, though. If you would have left that detail out, I would have. Oh, my
That's why I
goodness.
worded it as drafted as a shortstop.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Kanara was drafted as a shortstop or third baseman too. That's why
I think.
Well, that because Koski played third, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe he just switched from short to third. That was my thinking.
Still hits bombs in amateur ball too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dang it.
All right, Mike, what's your?
One of us has got to get this right. One of us has got to tie Mike up here. Come on.
All right. Before the BCS era, the college football national champion was voted on by polls. Name 3 of the 5 consensus polls that voted on the national champion in college football.
I have 2.
How long ago was this?
It's the last time they voted on the poll was 1998.
Oh God.
You want?
I don't have a third one. I have 2, I think.
I have a for sure 1, a good solid guess for 2. Can't think of the third one. 3 of the 5.
All right.
Oh my gosh!
I'll go first. Coaches poll.
Coaches poll is one of
AP
mine.
poll.
That's also mine.
And I'm gonna go with.
What was my third one?
I'm gonna go with like New York Times poll.
Are you serious, Spinny?
Yep.
That's what I was gonna say.
I also had coaches poll and AP poll. Is there like a college football writers association of America like there is for baseball?
There's a few. They're all writers associations. So yeah, there's.
Can I throw Heisman poll? Can I throw
Pick your
Heisman poll in there too? There's 5, so I feel like I can have 4 guesses for 3, right?
Sure. So if you want to throw
Heisman.
5 darts, go for it.
Oh, I got way more.
Heisman poll, Maxwell poll. Those are my 5.
Yeah, I had the New York Times and coaches and AP were my 3.
Gotcha.
Brendan, did you say 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan said.
I don't know if my third one is real, but it's fine.
Right, the college football, whatever. What is
All
it,
right.
Mike? Did any of us get it?
So
Did
the
any of us
AP,
get any of them?
the AP, it's not New York Times, it's the USA Today. And then there's the FWAA, which I'll give it to Brendan. It's the Football Writers Association of America. And then there's the NFFA and the UPI.
Jeez.
No AP?
AP was the first one I said.
Oh,
What does UPI stand for?
You know, I couldn't tell you what they were, and that's why I was like, "This is unbelievable." I thought UPI.
So there was nothing coaches.
No, there's no coaches. Coaches don't get to vote on the national champion. There'd be too much bias in that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I didn't think of that. That's
But
true.
yeah,
Wow. All right, Spinny. You can still tie on mine. You got to get mine right. That means I got to get yours right.
The nickname for the play that won the 1992 divisional playoff round. This play has a name. It won the 1970s. It won the 1990. Wow! It won the 1972 divisional playoff game.
wait, hold on. 72 or 92?
72. Sorry, 72.
The play.
Old Yeller.
I like it.
Final answer. Lock me in.
1972. The play. You
I
say the
got
rest
it.
of the details one last time.
What?
Can you say the rest of the details one last time, like who the series was between?
No, there wasn't any details. It was just in the divisional round.
I think I got it.
No answer.
Do.
I don't know. The shot heard around the world.
Mike?
Not a bad guess. All right, to set the scene, the 1972 divisional round. It played
How do
between
you don't actually know this?
between the Raiders and the Steelers,
Ah,
known as the Immaculate
God.
Reception.
damn it, Mike.
Let's go.
For some reason I was thinking baseball.
That's a funny play on words, though. Immaculate reception.
So he's right.
Yes, he's freaking right.
Wow, Mike is.
That's 2 in a row. That's 2 trivias in a row. Let's
That's
go.
7 to 2 to 1 right now. Mike's winning by 5.
That's tough.
Where? Hold on, I'm looking at.
I at least have to make this respectable and get this right so I can be not 7 points away.
Yeah, Mike has the most wins as a guest. You're close. Forbrook still has you in points. You have 2 less points than Forbrook. So
So
I did
Mike gets
awful
this
the
question
first
right.
time.
If Mike gets this question right, he's the guest trivia leader.
facts. Okay. I'm giving you 2 questions here. You get to choose which one you would like to
Ooh,
answer.
That means these are ungodly hard.
They're both equally hard in my opinion, so I'm letting you choose. As a team in the last 5 years, as I said, they're all interception related. Who has the most pick sixes as a team in the last 5 years? And your other question is who has the least amount of pick sixes? So you can decide if you want to go most or least. Just tell me, obviously, before you guess.
All
Who
right.
can score touchdowns as a defense? And who can't?
I think I know. Last 10 years?
5 years.
Oh.
All my questions were last 5 years.
We'll go with it anyway.
You got Spinny. What are you going with, most or least?
Least.
And who?
Lions.
Okay. Mike or Brendan, any of you guys got an answer?
I was going to say least, and I was going to say Jets.
Can we guess for both?
You can guess for both. That's fine. I'll accept that.
I'm going
You only
most.
ahead.
You only get one guess for both, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you're not going to get 6 points. You get them both right.
Yeah. Most, we're going most and Miami.
Okay. Miami and
And Lions.
Lions. Jets were the least for Brendan.
The same
Yeah,
most for the Rams. Let's go with that.
What'd you say?
Rams for most.
Okay.
I'm going to go Ravens for the most.
What do you got? Who do you think for the least?
For the least, I want to say Jets, but I don't think that's right, so I'm going to go with the Texans.
I was thinking
Okay.
that too.
Did anyone get any of them right before you tell us?
Brendan got one right.
Let's go.
The most pick sixes as a team in the last 5 years is, in fact, the Rams. They have 11. And the least, the only team without a single pick six in the last 5 years is the Carolina Panthers. So those are your answers, Brendan.
So 7 to 4 to 2 to 1.
Spinny, we lost both of our guests.
Yeah.
I don't even know football.
Wow.
Big Tufferton.
That,
Well, it doesn't help that I was lobbing softballs to Mike Brown. I messed up.
Should have known better, man.
I messed up with my questions on that one.
There's probably not a more obscure football game in existence than the 1972 fucking divisional round in my book. Like,
I
He
would have
didn't
gotten
say
that one
sport.
too.
He didn't say sport. He didn't say
That's what
nothing.
I'm saying.
He didn't give teams. He didn't say what conference it was. It's like,
No,
good goodness.
he said divisional, so I don't know. I thought he was talking about MLB. Gosh. Spinny, you rat. You should have at least gave me NFL.
I thought I did, honestly.
That's why I said shot heard around the world. Like I thought it was a massive home run that was walked off or something. I don't know.
Mike got it anyway. So
He did. You're right.
just be better,
You're right.
I guess. So,
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, Brendan, we appreciate you coming on and talking MLB with us. I'm sure we'll have you on during the playoffs or something
I hope
along
so.
those lines.
Thanks for having me.
Actually, you're
Absolutely.
never coming on again, Brendan. Sorry.
What's that, Spinny?
We actually hate you, and you're never coming on again. So.
Because I beat you in trivia the last 2 times.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
All right, see you guys.
All right,
Peace out,
see you,
buddy.
brother. All right, we're gonna do college football recap as well as NFL recap to end this beautiful episode 28. Let's start with college football, huh? I'll throw out a headline. What do you want?
I'm sorry.
Spinny?
Can I start with a breaking headline first before?
Yeah.
In honor of episode 28, it reminded me of this. Another Minnesota sports L was taken this weekend by a famous number 28, Adrian Peterson, who got knocked out by Le'Veon Bell this weekend. Absolutely sad. Le'Veon rocked him.
He got his ass sat down.
He did. So, just a quick little shout out to our boy. Apparently he can beat his kids but can't beat up other grown men, so that's tough for him. We might have to cut that out, but I couldn't help it.
We're not cutting that out. No chance. I love that.
Oh, all right, man.
I want to shout out the biggest headline, I feel like, is the 3 Sun Belt upsets. And you guys all know what I'm talking about, especially I know Mike knows what I'm talking about. Georgia Southern wins 45-42 over Nebraska. Marshall wins 26-21 over number 9 ranked Notre Dame. And Appalachian State wins 17-14 over Texas A&M, number 6 ranked team. They're now the 22nd. Notre Dame fell out of the rankings completely. The interesting note about this, they paid a whopping $4.173 million total for these teams for them to come and play on the road. And yeah, they all took losses. Each of them paid about $1.2 to $1.5 million to the opposing team to take it out. So that's kind of funny. And I know Notre Dame's your team, Mike. So what are you thinking about that? 0-2, QB's now out for apparently the rest of the season. Like what?
I think Notre Dame's fortunate that Drew Pine didn't transfer after last year. Drew Pine was playing really well last year when he got the opportunity to. Tyler Buckner, not proven as a passer. They call him a dual threat, but he's known when he got to play in 2021. He's pretty much only in running situations. So, absolutely stunning. And, Marcus Freeman, he's a defensive coach. I had a lot more faith in Tommy Rees, obviously, to get it done. I think they had better weapons than they had in previous times on offense. So, Kyron Williams not being there anymore definitely hurts that offense. So
yeah, it does. For sure. No doubt about it. That's just so tough. Like, start the season bad. You feel like, let's get things going again starting week 3, but your quarterback's out for the season now. It's weird. It's interesting time. They still obviously got all the talent in the world to flip it around, though. So plenty of season left for Notre Dame football. Spinny, I know you wanted to talk about Texas A&M this game a little bit because you were high on them to start the season. You had them in the playoff, did you not?
Yeah, another L. Like I said, this is Spinny's L episode, for sure. Absolutely wrong about Texas A&M. They took an absolute fat out. So nothing I can really say about it. They really struggled moving the ball. Appalachian State's defense played very well. 97 yards passing, 4.9 average per pass for their quarterback, 21 QBR. And their leading running back had 6.6 yards per carry, actually, but only got 10 carries throughout the game because there was a play call. There was coaching, horrible decisions. The play calling was very suspect, I thought, throughout the whole game. And just, absolutely terrible from A&M. And Hudson King played about as awful as you could have in that situation. So I had to give them a big old roast nation.
I saw if you threw down $100 on a money line parlay for those 3 Sun Belt teams, you would have won about $100,000. Obviously, I'm sure no one did, but that's just a funny little note. And the last little note, I guess, about these 3 games was that Scott Frost got fired next day for Nebraska. So have they filled that job yet? Do either of you guys know?
On an interim basis, they got Mickey. I don't know what his last name is, but he played at Nebraska in the Tom Osborne era. It's surprising.
Is he fresh? Is he fresh to the staff, or was he like a D coordinator or something and just got promoted?
He was a coordinator of some kind.
Okay.
I can't exactly recall which, but when you lose to Northwestern and Georgia Southern 2 out of the 3 weeks, and your only win is still a sketchy one against an FCS school, I mean, and on top of that, Scott Foster had a winning percentage of under 300 coming into this year. So it was time. It was tough. He's a legend there. He's a huge icon there, but it's just like, you can't coach, you can't win. This is Nebraska. Like, they've been trying to come back to relevance for a long time, and they're not going to put up with crap like that. So it's tough looks for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about one of you guys? What's a headline that stood out to you from? It could even be from the first weekend, because we didn't talk about CFB first weekend on this pod yet, even.
Yeah, I just want to throw out BYU. I mean, going into this season, BYU had one of the toughest schedules in my opinion, and after beating Baylor at home, down their top 2 wide receivers, they could be 7-0 mid-October. Their next 4 games in their next few games here, they have at Oregon this weekend. In a couple weeks, they play against Notre Dame in Vegas, and then they play at home against Arkansas in the middle of October. If they get through those 3, they could be 7-0, a great resume. I think if they go undefeated, or even if they have a loss, I think you got to consider them for the college football playoff.
That is
crazy
to think about. I was just going to say, I was crazy to even think about, like you said, Mike, coming into the season, if you would have told me that they would have been competing for a spot in the CFB playoff, I would have laughed at you. But they're showing out. They've, like you said, they beat Baylor, and I guess that's really their own key win so far. But yeah, Oregon, another test this week, and Notre Dame and Arkansas coming up. I agree. If they can go out undefeated through those games, I don't see why not.
I mean, they even have room to lose one, I think, because like if you win against Oregon, Notre Dame, and Arkansas, you have room to lose one, because that resume is just as good as anyone in the SEC or the ACC is going to have.
Right.
Agreed. Did you see that fade route in the second quarter? That was an absolute just perfect ball. Like I was just watching that, and I was like, crazy impressed by that particular throw. It was absolutely nutty.
Everyone was so worried too about, once they lost Wilson, about that offense will never get back to that level, and they're definitely coming right back. They're on point. They're probably maybe even better than those Zach Wilson teams.
I was impressed with Jaron Hall. Really, really overall impressed. It was also funny in that game, the 2 passing touchdowns were with the same 2 guys, except one is the catcher and one is the thrower for each touchdown. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Getting crafty.
Yes, sir.
Spinny, how about you? I know something that is standing out to you.
My standout is USC. I think obviously the competition train so far, it's not been, Rice barely counts, and Stanford is not a good football team on the regular. I think this year's team has some talent, but Caleb Williams, 20 for 27, 340, 4 tutties, looked absolutely insane. He looked like the Caleb Williams we saw at some points with Oklahoma, and I just have faith in Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams and just them putting that offense together. Now, the defense is at least a year or 2 away from, I think, making them a serious, compete in the playoff contender. But they have two big games, essentially. One against Utah, who we just saw got beat and has some flaws, and the other against Notre Dame, who we've seen lose 2 games already this season. So I think other than that, they play kind of a cupcake schedule, really. So I actually think that USC could finish the season with no or 1 loss. And I think in that situation, given the pedigree and everything else, they might be in the playoff, even if they get destroyed once they're in it.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Well, I know I did. I'm pretty sure Mike did too. Had Utah as the 4, didn't you, Mike?
I have half my playoff pretty much out of commission already. I had Utah at the 3 and Notre Dame at the 4. So
Yeah, and I had Utah as the 4. So I agree with you, Spinny. We saw Utah lose. So if it's USC now able to come out of that on top with only 1 or 0 losses, they would be that team that slides in there at 4, I think. So they have a really high-powered offense. Questions around their defense. Addison is a beast, and I love this combination with Williams.
look at that offense, though. Compared to all the other top teams in the country, you have Clemson struggling on offense. They might make a quarterback change. Alabama got held to 20 points this week. Georgia, we saw them blow the doors off of Oregon, but, they're still a defensive-focused team. I think USC can hang with any of those guys and put up points. So,
yeah, I agree. That kind of leads into my last headline would be the Bama and Texas game, 20-19 win. Obviously, the main storylines coming out of this game would be the game-winning drive by Bryce Young. In a minute, they had game-winning field goal with 15 seconds left. The crazy play he had where he avoided that sack to get the 20-yard run to set them up for the field goal. Just absolutely incredible by Bryce Young, but just brutal game by Alabama. I just need to roast them for a second. 15 penalties for 100 yards. That's ridiculous. I would imagine that's one of their most penalized games in the last however many years. And this was maybe the worst game I've seen under Saban because from start to beginning, all facets of the game, Alabama was just brutal out there. It was terrible to watch. Playing a backup quarterback and still almost lost.
Yeah, my takeaway is, all right, Quinn Ewers is hurt now.
Right.
Does he have a job when he gets back? Because Hudson Card is a lot of people thought he could be the next great thing at Texas too. Obviously not as high rated as Quinn Ewers, but the rest of this Texas team has the pieces in place. So I don't think Oklahoma's anything special after watching them play. Texas could very well compete for the Big 12 title. I don't think that the expectations that Bama needs to blow the doors off of everybody. I think that, it's okay for them to have games like this as long as they still win. No,
I agree.
My question for you guys, I think that was one of the first times that I can remember in my lifetime where I think it was genuinely an argument that Saban got out-coached. Consistently, I think Sark made coaching decisions better than Saban did, and their team was definitely more disciplined than Alabama was. So that was kind of, not like you said, Alabama doesn't need to blow the doors off everybody every time, and one regular season game is not a huge deal, but it's just a crazy thought to me because you never see it from Saban, ever. He outcoaches everyone, especially his assistants. So I was just pleasantly surprised by Sark there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I totally agree with that. And, maybe the trend's starting to buck the other way because, look at what happened in the national championship against Kirby Smart, former DC at Bama. Now there's this where Sark definitely looked like he had him. He had him on the ropes. And
then Bryce Young does Bryce Young things, and the game's for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I feel like we have to talk about the play that's
the safety
being talked about. The safety, non-safety,
BS Alabama favoritism call.
All right, let's chill with this, okay?
No,
we already said they had 15 penalties. They were penalized more. It was also a Big 12 officiating crew, so let's chill out with these rumors here. But yeah, they called it a targeting and interrupting the passer. They reviewed it. They overturned that, but since they called it, they weren't allowed them to get the safety. It's from what I understand. It was weird.
Atrocious call.
Atrocious. I think I agree with that, but he did look like he was tackled on top of him, right? I feel like he did actually get the throw off. So it looked like he landed on top of the dude and then spun over onto his body before making contact with the ground.
I'm looking at the ankle, like the ankle shin
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
like that looked like that's where it's like you definitely could tell there probably wasn't a conclusive thing. But like for me, I'm like, there's no way it's off the ground. Like what
Yeah,
after
true.
piecing together the angles, I'm like, there's just no way. But yeah, Bama gets a good break, and of course we saw Bryce Young finish it off. Just disappointing.
Yeah, I forgot about the ankle. That's technically down. That was probably down before he threw the ball. I'll admit it, but we'll take it. We'll take it. I just hate people that are like saying that single call lost Texas the game. There's too many people on social media saying that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I just think Alabama benefiting for that call and getting Texas's backup quarterback for half the game and still winning by only barely by 1 point
Right.
is a little sus.
And then Saban after the game, all the Bama players running across with the horns down, and they caught Saban with a hot mic. Tell him to cut that out.
Those boys were running suicides on Monday. I guarantee it. Those boys were running. Saban
Absolutely
with that crap. All right, I'm going to jump to mine. My last one, another SEC matchup. We had a nice Florida-Kentucky game this weekend. I thought was good. We get Levis and Richardson, two guys that are thought of to be possible first-round picks. And we just saw the ups and downs of Anthony Richardson. You know, I mean, that is what it is. What it is. You knew you were going to get that. I just didn't know the bads would necessarily be this bad. The second half was one of the worst quarterbacking performances I have ever seen from someone.
It was brutal.
They multiple 3-and-outs in a row. They just couldn't do anything. He couldn't do anything on the ground. He couldn't. I don't know. I was not impressed. But again, that's the ups and downs of the type of player you're going with. I also didn't think Levis looked that good. I thought Florida's defense did a good job in the first half, especially of pretty much shutting Kentucky down. And they got a few nice plays in the second half, but a lot of it was I thought plays by others complimenting Levis and not necessarily Levis making the plays. Smoke had a couple of big runs there in the second half as well that kind of put him in it. Levis did his job and won the game, but I was just a little less impressed by him than I thought they would. Kentucky also had the pick six in the third quarter as well.
Yeah. Oh, I agree entirely about. I mean, everyone wants to talk about Anthony Richardson, and he's just a super volatile player. You know, the high highs and the low lows there. You know, there's just that floor needs to be higher. You know, to be a everyday quarterback in the SEC. Will Levis, I was lower on him.
Is it Levis?
Yeah.
That whole time.
Yeah.
Gee,
yeah.
Oh,
you're
bad.
good. You're good. But yeah, no, I was worried about him when they lost Chris Rodriguez. They were so good with that run game last year that made the play action game just play off of it so well that you know, I didn't think of him as a pure passer, great quarterback by any means. I think he was a beneficiary of a good run game, and still a lot of time left in this season for him to, you know, pump those numbers up and get right. But you know, when you get a play against the Tennessees and the Ole Misses of the world that have those high flying offenses, I don't know if he'll be able to keep up.
Yeah, he might not be able to. I agree with those points. Well, Mike, do you have any thoughts about the last 2 weeks? Thoughts for the upcoming week? I've kind of went through everything that I had written down.
Oh, we got to talk about the Big Ten this week, man. Come on, Iowa and Wisconsin. Oh, baby, this was unbelievable. Iowa, first off, I've been waiting for them. I've been waiting for Iowa State to finally take the crown, take the Cyhawk back, and it just the Iowa offense. We could talk about it all day and night, but that defense is still phenomenal, and it should worry you in the Big Ten that you might not score more than 14 points against them a game, but you might only need 3 to beat them. I think that Iowa City is a literal black hole for points, and they all just get sucked into the 50-yard line, and you're just not going to see any scoring.
Spencer Petras is awful.
And
Awful.
Kirk Ferentz came out and said today that he's sticking with him for I don't know what reason, and I don't know what they expect to improve, because it seems like they're doing a lot of the same things, and they're favored by 23 points this week at home against Nevada.
How are they going to score 23 points?
I don't think they have the ability to score 23. So
yeah,
there's your betting tip of the week. And then Wisconsin, I don't know how they were 18-point favorites against Washington State. They had the ball inside the 20 that was picked off, then fumbled, and then recovered by Wisconsin, and they got a 15-yard penalty that brought them back. They had all the chances to win this game, and they just had mistake after mistake. But it just seems that offense looks weird as well. Like, they rely on big plays. They can actually make big plays and get those 15 to 20-yard gains, but it's outside of that, like, there's just nothing going on. So very odd. I think it's a lot of things that can be cleaned up on the Wisconsin side. On the Iowa side, it's more of I think there's got to be just a change in the way that they approach the game, because it's just not pretty. But I think don't get too excited, Gopher fans, because there's still a lot of time in the season for these teams to get better. They will improve. If Iowa continues to stick with their guys, they might be in trouble. They have a very tough schedule. Both of these teams still have to play Ohio State. Iowa has to play Michigan at home, and then I believe Wisconsin has to play at Michigan State. So we'll see how that goes. I think the schedule sets up favorably for the Gophers to have a chance to win the West, but to see both of those teams lose and the Gophers win in the same weekend, that's a darn good feeling for us.
Yes. It's an amazing weekend. I think the Big Ten West is open, though. I think the Gophers could definitely be they might be the team to beat right now, low key. But again, we're in week 2, so we got Michigan State in 2 weeks and Penn State in October. So let's not do the week 1 overreactions yet. And speaking of week 1 overreactions, should we put a wrap on college football and move to the pros here?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Jump to the pros. I'll start it off because one of the games I wanted to talk about with you guys was the very first game of the season, the Bills-Rams game. I thought it was going to be a really good game. I was really looking forward to it. You know, you got one of your preseason favorites for Super Bowl and MVP and Josh Allen facing the defending champs in the Rams. So I thought that was going to be a really good, high-scoring, close battle. But we learned that from this game that the Bills are freaking legit. They absolutely took it to the Rams, won this game 31-10. Like, what do you guys think about? I mean, that's the first step for Josh Allen winning MVP in my eyes. He was my preseason pick. So,
yeah, I'll start out by just saying that, I think Josh Allen looked amazing. I want to focus more on the defense, though. I think that Von Miller,
that D-line,
might be the exact piece that they were missing from last season. And they were rotating guys. I felt like everybody got a piece of the action, knocking Stafford around. So that's where I was most impressed about on Thursday.
Yeah, Von Miller looked like he was 26 again. I thought I kind of roasted that contract. I'm like, you're giving Von Miller that many years and that much money? This man's kind of on his downhill already. But man, I mean, it's week 1 again, week 1 overreactions. But I thought that was good. A little suspect of the Rams. Who's going to be WR2 for them? I think it could be a little sketchy going in with the weapons that they have after Cooper Kupp. So I think the Odell to reunion to the Rams might come sooner than we think.
Stafford's elbow is still sus, dude.
Yeah, it is. He didn't even get surgery, did it? That's like he maybe should have tried to address that this offseason. On paper, you would think Allen Robinson would be a solid WR2, but I don't know. There was no Robinson involved in the game plan. They he had 2 targets. Stafford wasn't even looking at him at all. He's had one-on-one constantly. He wasn't getting open on the 1v1s a lot, but 2 targets, that's still not okay to me. I feel like he's your clear-cut WR2. He's got to get at least 5+ targets every single game. There's no reason not to include him that much. The other takeaway from the Rams offense would be Cam Akers. Everyone thought he was going to lead that back. I mean, he came in the playoffs and was the clear lead back. Got 20 carries in the Super Bowl, and then he only gets 3 carries in week 1. And a lot of pass blocking issues I see were cited post game. So that might be the reason why. I'm not really sure. But what do you guys think about no Cam Akers? That one kind of shocked me too.
Well, you saw what McVay said. He said he didn't think Akers was really hungry enough for it. I think Akers kind of walked in expecting it. And if it's one thing you can say about Darrell Henderson, he's a grinder. He'll do whatever you want. He's grinding out yards. He's doing anything you want. He's pass blocking well. He's getting yards after contact all the time. And Akers is obviously more talented than him. But I really think it's a deal where Akers kind of walked in and expected the job and thought he could get it without working for it. And you saw some of that in the pass blocking. But I think McVay really was making a point that if you don't want this and you're not as hungry as everyone else here, we're not going to give it to you. I think that is kind of the situation with Akers. So hopefully that's a wake-up call for him and it doesn't get worse but gets better.
That's a good point. Any more thoughts on this game? Otherwise, one of you guys can shout out a headline from NFL Week 1.
Ooh, I'm ready. Is Saquon Barkley back? Is this? I don't. Again, it all comes back to the Week 1 overreactions. But what do you have? 185 yards, a couple touchdowns in there. That's a game the Giants had no business winning. Hand up, I had the Titans in my survivor pool. But if
all three of us did,
if the Giants, if Daniel Jones is going to save his job with the Giants, it's going to be on the coattails of Saquon Barkley, I think. And we got flashes of rookie year of Saquon there, and that had me pretty jacked up. Even though I was rooting for the Titans on Sunday, super surprising debut. And I don't know how much of this, because it's kind of a recurring theme throughout Week 1 for these first-time head coaches. I don't know if it's just because other teams don't see what they have. They don't have their hands shown. There's not a lot of tape out there on what they want to do, so they can trick them. I don't know if it's the preparation from that extra week in between the last preseason game and the first week of practice leading up to the games, but it seemed that a lot of teams were just thrown off course Week 1, and it led to a lot of upsets.
Yeah, there was. Screw the Titans. God, that pissed me off. I thought for sure they would win at home, but their defense did not step up whatsoever. I mean, I think I saw PFF, highest graded quarterbacks from Week 1. Tannehill had the 3rd best grade, surprisingly, from that game. So, I mean, often Derrick Henry wasn't amazing, but I feel like he did close to enough to win that game. But the defense could not get a stop in that 4th quarter.
They ran that 2-minute drill through Saquon, which he obviously had that 50-yard run, but even the rest of it, they kind of ran a 2-minute drill through their running back, which is weird, and you don't see it be successful in the NFL. And, Daniel Jones is a backup, and I think we all kind of realize that at this point. And so I'm just going to use that transition and jump into mine. Speaking of quarterbacks that got a win, but I think they are backups in the NFL, we're going to talk about the Dolphins and Patriots game. Tua Tagovailoa, I think he's a backup. I really do. I really don't see the upside with him. And he had one of the worst 270-yard throwing performances I've ever seen. It just felt bad when you watch the game. It's just like, And he could be doing much better than this and missing open guys still a little bit and could have maybe been more risky with needle threading on certain plays. Just a little not as good as I think he should have been given the weapons. And despite that, they still kick the Patriots' butts. How bad does that show that they are? Absolutely horrible performance. I think the truth about the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach, when you lose your 10-year offensive coordinator plus one of the best offensive line coaches in the league to go to the Raiders, you saw the effect that had. But it's not only that. I really don't think so. I really think it's also just the talent on the roster. Who's the most talented person on the Patriots roster? Matt Judon?
Yeah, it's like.
Other than that,
is
is it Mac Jones? Is Mac Jones the best player? That's
probably
awful.
Is. Yeah.
It's either Judon or Mac Jones. It's like,
yeah.
Holy cow, that's the most talented player you got on your roster? I mean, nothing against those guys. Judon's a top 100 player, but he's in the bottom 50 of that. And you can't win games in the NFL with less talented rosters anymore. That's not how it works. Unless you have a star quarterback that can make up for it, which, as we can see, Brady did for so many years. Just pathetic performance by the Patriots. That's my overreaction. Biggest overreaction of this week one is I had the Patriots, I think 8-9, 9-8 or 8-9, and I think that's even too high right now.
I have them going 6-11, so I feel like that's feeling pretty good about that prediction. But I agree. I still didn't expect them to perform that badly. And, you got Ramondre and Damian Harris. You should be able to get something to work out of the backfield. And I think Ramondre had like 8 carries for like 28 yards or something pathetic. And Damian Harris had like 10 carries for 40 yards. So it's like nothing was working for the Patriots at all. And I guess commenting on the Dolphins, I agree with your takes there too. They didn't even look good, but they still got a huge win. So, I mean, week one, you gotta just take it, I guess, to the Dolphins.
The only thing I want to add there is that Miami did not have a running game at all, so it was all on Tua's shoulders. I think he did pretty good for I guess what he had around him working on offense. So shout out Mike McDaniel though for putting together a great game plan to even kind of do more with less kind of in that first week.
Yeah.
I like that point. I do like that point. He did use Wilson and Waddle and Hill all odd rushing carries as well. So that is a good point. So I think it's back to Bus. Game number dos. What do you got for us, my guy?
I guess we'll talk about the Bucks boys game. Mainly to come from this game is just the extreme offensive struggles the Cowboys had. Obviously, the Bucks defense is amazing, one of the best defenses in the league. But even when Dak was playing in this game, they looked terrible. Nothing was working. I think CD had 2 catches on 11 targets, so crazy inefficiency there. Zeke actually looked okay. I thought Zeke was fine. He was close. He was about 5 yards a carry. Pollard was terrible. He had like 6 carries for 8 yards or something like that. Just pathetic they looked. And now what's their offense going to look like now? Like, what do you guys think? Dak's out 6 to 8, maybe more weeks at least. What's happening to the boys now? Are they done? Is this an overreaction by me to say that 8 weeks of no Dak is enough to say no more playoffs for the boys?
That's also been updated because his hand injury is actually less severe than they thought.
Okay.
So we're looking at 4 to 6 right now. Their target is him to be back when they play at the Rams on October 9th. So he would only be missing Bengals at home, at the Giants, Commanders at home.
Okay. I guess that kind of answers my question. Then they should be fine. Cooper Rush has got to perform for them.
If it is that short, correct?
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. So I guess what do you guys think about their offense going forward? That was kind of basically the only takeaway from this game.
You got to revive the run game. I mean, that's really your only option at this point. If Zeke's just going to go quietly into the night, his career is over if he can't do anything this year. He'll be on the curb by the time he's 30. So I think it's got to be Zeke. I don't know who else it would be. Tony Pollard, Schultz in the short passing game to kind of help out your backup quarterback, but I think it's got to be Zeke.
Agree. Completely agree.
I think that's where you got to base it. Shout out Leonard Fournette, 127 yards, 6 yards a carry. Only real bright spot of the Pats offense too. Brady looked
Bucks offense.
Bucks offense. Brady looked okay. Nothing crazy. Their defense was good, obviously. But I do want to say what I said before the season even started, and that's that I don't know if CeeDee Lamb is in the same category as those other young breakout receivers. He doesn't get the separation. He makes great plays, he gets open, but he does not get the crazy separation of your Chases and Jeffersons and those guys that I think a lot of people around the country put CeeDee Lamb on the same level as. And I don't know as a number one if he's really on that level or if he got a lot more open playability because of Amari Cooper's amazing route running and all the things that he did to take guys away. I think that helps CeeDee a lot, and I don't know necessarily if he's going to be a one. Just some questions.
Yeah, those are fair questions. I mean, he's definitely not on the same tier as Jefferson. That's clear. It's another headline you guys got from week 1.
We got to talk about this Bengals game, man. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Good try not to win the game fast, you mean? Who could lose more?
And after watching that week 1 game, it only makes that Super Bowl run even more impressive because they said that O-line improved a little bit. Well, absolutely not. 7 sacks, and TJ Watt was out. He went out in the first half. So I think it was Alex Highsmith that came out and had 3 sacks in the game. So it's just unfortunate. They're throwing the ball 53 times, and Burrow's getting sacked 7 times. Get the ball out quicker. Try to establish a run game. Kind of is reminiscent, at least from the sacks and like the QB pressure, is reminiscent of the 2016 Vikings, I'd say, with how bad that offensive line was. Hopefully, I mean, it looked like they did pretty well in the run game. They rushed for 133 yards. You don't need to be too crazy with that, I think. I mean, you can activate Mixon in the run game and the pass game. You can get the ball out quick. It just might hurt Jamar Chase. Obviously, he was that big downfield threat. But props to the Steelers. Money Mitch getting a week 1 dub within the division.
When your quarterback has 6 turnovers and you lose the game on the very last second in overtime by 3, this is some type of special loss. I think Pittsburgh could be good, but they got to give Kenny Pickett a shot sooner than later because they won that game. But come on, Mitch is not it. We know Mitch is not it. He didn't look like he was it. He just didn't make any mistakes.
He outdueled Burrow.
Come on.
Dude, I can't believe I left that whole point out on Burrow. I was like, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because he was under siege all day, but that was bad. First half was awful.
I feel bad for him. He got pressure on almost 50% of his snaps, but you can't turn the ball over 6 times. You got to figure it out. Like, I'm sorry, 3-4 turnovers would even be acceptable, but 6, you can't turn the ball over 6 times. Sorry.
On the flip side of it, doesn't that kind of make it seem a little less worrisome, though, since it's a week 1 loss? You barely lost, and you had 6 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bengals will be fine. I really do. I think they'll figure it out. And if you didn't notice, my biggest theme from around the league this week, the offensive line play was atrocious all around in all the games.
Agreed.
Much atrocious offensive line play. But when you don't play any of your guys in the preseason, when they don't get the normal full padded snaps that they would in training camp, offensive line is one of the hardest positions to pick up without in-game reps. You can rep out quarterback and receiver timing. You can rep out defensive back trying to cut off that timing. You can rep out a lot of that stuff, but it's hard to rep out offensive line play legitimately without in games. So I think that'll be something that not only will improve for Cincinnati, but I see improving throughout the league as offensive lines get more time with each other.
That's a great point.
All right. Well, I'll jump in my second game then quick. Not a ton of notes on this. Surprise win, Bears over Niners. absolute crazy monsoon fest, especially in the second half. Like, you couldn't see 10 yards in front of you in the second half with how that rain was looking. Shout out Justin Fields, though. I have been huge on the Justin Fields fan train. I think he's going to be good. I think he could even be the second best quarterback in that draft. I have a lot of faith in Justin Fields, but he did so much with so little this weekend. He made some huge mistakes, obviously, but even that one Dante Pettis play, how many sacks can we avoid? We can chuck it across the field to a wide open receiver. He made plays. And Trey Lance had a better situation. He had more weapons. He had a way better running game. He has a way better coach. They had a way better defense, even though Chicago's defense played better, I would say, on Sunday. Just a little sketchy for me. And I think it really also points to the fact of throw your quarterback out there right away. Fields would not have won this game if this was his first game starting either. But all the mistakes he made last year, you can tell he learned from a lot of those things. Conservative when he should be, taking risks when he can, making less mistakes. And that only comes from learning. And that comes with their best weapon on offense is Darnell Mooney. The Bears have nobody. So I just huge shout out to Justin Fields. I think he made a lot out of a little this weekend, and I was impressed.
Yeah, I agree. I was impressed with them too, even though I absolutely hate to say it because they're my least favorite team in the NFL. I absolutely hate the Bears being a division rival, but they took it to the 49ers. I did not see that coming.
Man, let's just look ahead a little bit here. Just potential nightmare situation in San Francisco if Trey Lance doesn't pan out. You trade 3 first-round picks to move up, and if he doesn't, you still have Jimmy G on the sideline. Somehow he's been restructured and he's just sticking around. This is going to get ugly. If Trey Lance doesn't pan out, there's a lot of pressure on him. I think the situation's good enough that obviously, when you're not playing in a monsoon, it could improve, but you still haven't seen it. Week 1 overreaction potentially, but man, that would be just absolute nightmare fuel if this is kind of just prolongs itself.
Yeah, I agree. They got a tough schedule too, so.
All right.
Do you guys have any final NFL points? Otherwise, I want to ask you guys a question about Week 1.
Oh.
Should I shoot it?
Just got to say Baker sucks quick. Like, the Panthers are a total train wreck franchise.
Even though he did look good in the second half, his first half was one of the worst I've ever seen. He did make a little ballsy comeback there at the end. I will give him a little bit of credit for that.
Revenge game. It was not.
Yeah, revenge. He's going to F him up. Yeah, he's effing him up. He's effing up the Browns. One thing I just got to say quick, too, another just quick note. Chiefs might be underrated. I said this in the last pod. I'm going to say it again. When you give Mahomes 5 seconds and that offensive line looked absolutely fantastic, it doesn't matter what number 10's on the field. Number 10 who? When you give Mahomes that much time to throw and he still has good weapons and you still have Kelsey taking doubles, I think the Chiefs are really dangerous. Arizona's D is also unworldly bad. Played so bad, but they took it to him.
They did.
All right, ask us up, Bussy. Let's hear it.
What performance, I'm talking offensively, stood out to you guys the most from this weekend? Any performance, obviously Jefferson went off. There's tons of guys that had great games. To answer my own question, I'm going to actually go with, do I really want to shout him out? I might as well. Carson Wentz. I didn't have any faith in him. I know he's playing the bum Jaguars. Like, I know that defense not very good, but he still absolutely took it to them and had an amazing Week 1. He had, what was his numbers? 313 yards with 4 touchdowns. He did end up having 2 interceptions as well, but 4 touchdowns in Week 1. That's a great start for Carson Wentz and that offense. I know he spread it around a lot too. Jahan Dotson had 2 touchdowns in an NFL debut. Curtis Samuel had a touchdown. So there's a lot of spreading around. A lot of people got involved. And so shout out to Carson Wentz for coming ready to go Week 1.
I feel like roles are reversed here, Bus, because you're usually the Carson Wentz guy. Carson Wentz
right,
hater,
that's why
I'm the guy defending him. But I'm hating on that a little bit. I didn't think he performed as well as his stat line showed, and I thought he got bailed out quite a bit by receiver play and some nice catches. I thought the Jags were going to win that game. I truthfully did, and I think they kind of pissed
picked
it away.
The Jags to win.
2 ETN touchdown drops, as well as Lawrence missing ETN wide open on the first drive of the game as well. So that's three different touchdown plays that they absolutely messed up. My shout out, we already talked about Saquon enough. I think, again, like I said, the 2-minute drill leading by running back is crazy. I'm going to give a shout out to a team that I hate that the Vikings play next week, and that's the Eagles and A.J. Brown. I thought they fed the crap out of him like they should. And, I mean, it's easy to look back on this. There was so much of this across the NFL. Devontae out receiving the whole Packers receiving core. A.J. Brown going absolutely off when the Titans took a fat L and their receiver production was bleh. It's easy to say this early in the season, but A.J. Brown looked good and the Eagles looked good.
I'm kind of scared for that game. I'm excited. Monday Night Football against the Eagles in Philadelphia. That's going to be a tough one.
Gosh, I hope we win.
I hope we just kill
them. I want it so bad.
Same. How about you, Mike? What performance stood out to you?
Is it just offense or anybody?
I suppose you can shout out defense player if you want.
I want to shout out the Chargers defense, man. Oh my goodness. I can't believe the Bears gave up. I mean, I get it. They probably had to get rid of Khalil Mack, but now if Joey Bosa can stay healthy, Bosa and Mack on the field at the same time is just unfair. The Chargers defense had 6 sacks on Sunday, and I don't think that's from bad O-line play by the Raiders. I think that they really are just that good. They turned up the heat. Khalil Mack had 3. Joey Bosa had 1.5. That defense is going to be tough. And then also you got Derwin James in there, just a super playmaker. That AFC West, you have that Thursday night game. I'm really looking forward to. With the Chiefs and the Chargers. That all those divisional games will be awesome this year.
I'm so excited.
I love it. We also get to hear Al Michaels on Thursday night. That'll be nice. I love Al Michaels as a play-by-play guy. We'll see how it works with Herb Street. I mean, I never loved Michaels and Collinsworth, but the cheesiness I felt like did work between the two. And I don't know how I'm going to love Herb Street announcing the NFL, but we got an open mind.
Right.
All right, kind of to wrap up the NFL here, let's just briefly talk the Vikings game. We won 23-7. That was amazing. I thought that was the absolute perfect start you could envision, like the most perfect start you could envision for the Vikings. A blowout win at home. Offense looked amazing. Defense looked amazing. This was awesome. I'm really excited about KOC, and I immediately noticed his impact, both locker room wise. Guys seem to be more fired up, focused, higher morale than when Zimmer was there, and obviously the offensive scheme line running more 3 wide receiver sets. Just incredible. And you saw, I know we say this a lot, week 1 overreaction, but you instantly saw why Kupp was always freaking open. And that instantly happened to Jefferson, and he put up monster numbers, and this is just the beginning in my eyes. I think Jefferson's about to do stupid things this year.
One thing I will say, Jefferson's performance was amazing. I agree with every point you just made. The Packers blew a ton of horrible zone coverage.
Absolutely.
Only 2 of Jefferson's catches for the day were on man, and one of those was that quick slant at the beginning of the game. Even the Jahir play that was shown a lot, where it looked like he was absolutely busting him. It was really zone coverage that Jahir was essentially moving off to the next person. Next person didn't pick it up. He got behind the linebackers. Great schemes from O'Connell, but some absolute garbage defense from the Packers as well.
And then you throw in the first play of the game drop by Watson. That would have been a touchdown too. So yeah, Packers, I'm not going to hold too much against the Packers. This is just kind of like how they started last year, where they got blown out by the Saints. They will be fine. They will be good. We still need to worry about them going forward. But still, on our side, this is exactly Yeah,
Love
exactly
it.
what I
Love
wanted to see.
Zedarius. Love the energy that man
Oh.
brings.
That was awesome.
Oh yeah, great pressure. I think that obviously their two starting tackles were out, so take it with a grain of salt. That's the thing I'm looking forward to in week 2 against Philly is can they sustain pressure continuously, and on paper looks like it's something that should be done. On the offensive side of the ball, I think it's kind of pick your poison. So like I think Philly's gonna be preparing for Jefferson and kind of lock him down. It's like, all right, well if you want to double him, Thielen and Osborne are going to get more involved. Still kind of waiting to see Irv Smith, if we can get the ball to him a little bit more. Or if you want to, I think it's going to be.
He only played 19 snaps.
Yeah, that's not. And to be fair, when you run more, three receiver sets, you're taking the tight end out of there a lot of times, obviously with Dalvin in the game. But I think that Dalvin didn't really get as much opportunity. Like there's open running lanes, but I'm just saying, like, maybe if he starts to eat, if you ever come into a +1 box situation, like JJ or Thielen's gonna be wide open. So I just think it's gonna be a lot of mismatches everywhere. We have so many weapons that they'll be able to adjust on the fly. I think that's the adjustments is what I'm looking forward to. Obviously, it went to plan right away. Making adjustments on the fly with the offense with all the weapons we have is definitely something I'm looking forward to this year. That's sustainable.
It seemed like they used Madison to motivate Cook. As soon as Madison came on and had that nice little drive, kept giving it to him, and then Cook came back on right after that, and it was like, nah, this is when I'm going off. So credit to them using Madison. Madison 4.5 yards a carry, same as Cook. So I love the change up, and KOC knows how to get your weapons on the field. But like you said, that's the last point I was going to make. Mike already made it for me. I cannot wait to see what happens when we get some adversity and make some halftime changes and make some changes in the game. One of the biggest things that always drove me absolutely through the wall about Zimmer is that those adjustments were not made. So I really hope to see better from KLC on that.
Right. And obviously I do want another blowout win. Who wouldn't want a blowout win against the Eagles? I freaking hate Philadelphia, but I would almost like to see that right away this weekend. Like Monday night, see some adversity. We're in the spotlight. Let's maybe be losing at halftime and see what O'Connell can do, because obviously when things are going well, then things are perceived a little different. So
and it's going to be a
good point.
And it's going to be a huge rushing defense test for us, especially Eagles, probably the best rushing attack overall in the NFL. Averaged over 150 yards per game last year, and they ran for over 200 last week. So,
amazing point. Well, Mike, do you have any closing thoughts? Otherwise, we'll get you out of here. We appreciate you coming on once again.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. Like, absolutely looking forward to it. Just the last thing on my end, get ready for the Kirk Cousins primetime talk until we shut it up again, right?
It's all right. I got faith, and the most important thing is his head coach has faith in him, and I think that matters for Kirk.
Bingo. Love it. All right, thanks again, guys, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Mike. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Mike.
Peace.
All right, before we get to Q&A, quick. Oh, we didn't give him. Is Mike still on? Can we catch him?
No,
Mike, you here? We missed Mike's mini for the Winnie. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, we didn't even do that last week either.
No, I know we suck. We're gonna keep doing it though. Now it's on. I'll have it on the. We'll have it on the plan. Before we get to Q&A, quick and get you out of here. Like I said at the intro, we're gonna try to do 2 episodes a week, so we're not running you guys 2 hours. It'll hopefully be shorter episodes, a couple of hour episodes or one longer episode, and then our short little fantasy football quick episode. So hopefully we'll keep you shorter, keep you entertained. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't. I know that we have some not as many baseball fans as football fans, so you can always jump ahead and just check out the segments you like. We're always, especially on YouTube, it's always tagged in the comments.
Always timestamped,
all that stuff. So just check out what you're interested in and let us know what you have to think about that. So, should we get to Q&A? Get them out of here?
Kind of piggybacking off that, I guess this episode only went this long because of the MLB. We had to give our final MLB update. We've been putting it off for 2 weeks now. So, like Spinny said, we'll split it up. We'll try to not keep these episodes that long. But that was just because of the MLB. All right. let's wrap things up with Q&A. We got a good one here from Brett, our buddy Brett, UFC. That's one thing I wish we would have talked about. We didn't have time for this episode, but UFC, that was crazy weekend. Crazy weekend.
Absolutely crazy weekend.
But so where is this freaking text message? He's kind of wondering, these week one overreactions, right? He's wondering fantasy-wise about a bunch of these players that struggled week one. We'll just rapid fire through them, okay? Akers and Robinson. Do you worry about these players for the rest of the season? Like, should you consider trading them? Whatever. Akers, Robinson.
Robinson, yes. Akers, yes, for the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think week 5 and beyond, Akers will be back to where we think he's going to be.
I say no, you don't have to worry about him. Just because I agree with you. Give Akers a couple more weeks. He should be back on track, but we will see. And I'm not worried about Robinson yet either. That was just, the dude had 2 targets. He wasn't even looked at. So let's see what he can do with more of a workload. And that he will be involved more in the game plan as well. Because
McVay's targets because he wasn't open? That's the
right.
Other question.
That's what I'm saying. So we'll see once he gets a little more volume if he's able to convert that in receptions, yards, all that stuff. But yeah, I would say give both of them a couple more weeks. Cowboys players. Again, now, like you said, that is only 4 to 6, so that might not be as bad here. But your Zeke, Pollard, Lamb, Schultz, the main 4 fantasy players there.
All worried except for Zeke. I think Zeke might get an increased workload in the way they run their offense. If they're smart, they might get some production out of him. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But everyone else very worried. I've already had my questions about CeeDee Lamb, and if they don't get another guy other than Cooper Rush, I think it's going to be sus for all the pass catchers in Dallas.
I am basically on page with you there. Very worried about CeeDee Lamb. Not very worried about Zeke. He should be able to get enough volume and yardage to have good fantasy games. He can maybe snake a touchdown in there and score you 15 points. You'll take that from a running back. I'm not fully worried about Schultz and Pollard because I think Cooper Rush are going to get a lot of more short passes, and those would be the guys to get those. So they might catch value in PPR at least. So those are my thoughts about the Cowboys players. Patriots running backs. We touched about those 2 guys. They were brutal for fantasy-wise, Harris and Ramondre. I'm touching the panic button.
I never want Patriots running backs. It's always a running back by committee, number 1. And number 2, I don't want anyone on that Patriots offense. Like I said, your most talented player in your team is Matt Judon or Mac Jones. Get out of here. I don't want any of your guys for fantasy in an ideal world. But I think the running backs could get production, and one of them will most likely get production every week, but you'll never know which one it is.
Yeah, I'm hitting the panic button. For exact reasons you said. I have Ramondre in a couple of leagues too, so I'm starting to get a little worried. Maybe try to ship him out for something else, but we'll see. And last one, Kyle Pitts.
No, not worried about Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts had almost 1,000 yards last year with an aging Ryan. We saw how that looked in Indy. And Mariota, when he's not given the absolute arse defense that the Saints played, I think a lot of the short balls will go to Pitts, and everything in the red zone is going to Pitts. He's bound to get touchdowns. Any touchdown they get, he's got a very good chance of getting it. Not worried about Kyle Pitts.
My answer will be a little on both sides of the fence. Not worried about Pitts for the
yes or no, Bus.
No,
none of this.
Just listen to my reason. Just listen to what I'm going to say. I'm not worried about him. I have him on a couple fantasy teams. Exact reason Spinny said. He'll be fine. For the tight end position, he's still a great option, an elite option, probably top 5 lock. I still picture that. But the flip side of it, if you're able to flip him into another weekly lock WR1, just say you trade Pitts with one of your, I don't know, maybe you got Amon-Ra for some reason. You're in a 10-team league, you got Amon-Ra sitting on your bench, you trade Pitts and Amon-Ra for like a Diggs or like a super lock. I don't see why not. You can make those moves right now if you want to do that with Pitts. But for the tight end position, he's still a lock. I'm not worried about Pitts whatsoever.
I completely agree, especially if you draft him in the 3rd round or earlier. I think trying to flip him with somebody else for one of those top tier running backs or receivers would be ideal if you can make that happen in your leagues, just because Falcons players are lower on the totem pole than those
Right.
great offensive players.
And running backs and receivers score more than tight ends. So that's kind of my other point.
Unless you're Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews, yes.
Right. Who's just freaking another WR1 in your freaking lineup. All right. That was a good question by Brett. I thought that was good. You got to throw in some week one, some guys. I mean, people always hit the panic button. I did my due diligence, and I sent trades in every single league because I want to see who's hitting the panic button. Maybe I can finesse some guys. I didn't, but
I just want to let the Hardys in on a quick secret. Bus says he sends trades in all these fantasy leagues. We in the hard-headed fantasy room have this thing we call Bustler trades, and those are the trades he's talking about, and they are atrocious. Bus is the king of sending out 100 bad trades, grinding it, and then he'll get one to get accepted because he grinded so much, and he'll make somebody
don't listen to Spinny
regret their trade. So that's what he means by sending out trades.
I sent out some good trades. I'm getting better at them as last year, 2 years ago, and now I'm doing better. Spinny's not around though. I used to send out some brutal
but
deals.
Sometimes they would get accepted, so
one would hit.
Happen if people are dumb. But all right, Adrian Peterson
y'all.
episode is checked off the list, just like he got checked off by Le'Veon Bell this weekend. So huge shout out to Le'Veon for getting her done. We love you, Hardys and Hardos. Hug your friends and family, and have a good night.